Zeebzob podcast.
You are listening to the Zeebzob Pinewood Derby podcast, episode 13, brought to you by Goat Boy Products, makers of high-quality Pinewood Derby tools, wheels, and axles. This week's special guest, Quakertown, Pennsylvania's own BSB Racing, Bill Groner. And now, here's your host, Zeebzob. Okay, welcome back, all you Zeebzob podcast fans. This is Zeebzob coming to you from Mukwonago, Wisconsin, in the Zeebzob studios. With me today on the phone, I have Mr. BSB Racing, Bill Groner. Bill, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Glad to have you on the podcast. Thanks for taking time to do this.
No problem.
And I must also thank you for giving me the idea to do this podcast. You're the one that kind of sparked that for me.
Well, you do have a radio voice.
And a radio face, too. So, let's get into the meat of this. Bill, you are a machinist. You said you've been a machinist for like 47 years. Is that right?
Yep, I started when I was 18.
Okay. So that basically means that when I was born, you started your career.
That's right. I was a stock boy in a machine shop when I was 16 and after school. And then after I graduated, I wasn't old enough to run any machines, so I stayed there until I was old enough to get an apprenticeship, and then I started my career. Nice.
And so what you do now, is it still machining, or is it CNC stuff, or is it just jack of all trades, fixing stuff, making parts for whatever you need?
I don't do any CNC.
Okay.
I'm the in-house machinist for the world's largest credit card manufacturer.
Oh.
And most of our machines come from France, England, or Germany. And when a part breaks, they can't afford to have the downtime. So if I can possibly make the part to get it up and running, that's pretty much my job.
Okay, that's pretty cool. It's got to keep it pretty interesting.
Yeah. So every day is pretty much different,
Yeah,
I never know what I'm going to be coming into because they run 24/7.
Gotcha. So then when you got into some of these other hobbies, that must have really put you at an advantage, being able to make a lot of parts.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good fit, this hobby, and my granddaughter, she asked her dad if he would build her a car, and well, my son, he's really good at IT stuff, but as far as mechanical stuff, not so good. So
Gotcha.
he said, well, maybe Pop would build you one. So
and that was the spark, huh?
Started.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you now, just in conversing with you over PMs and stuff and reading your posts, you kind of hooked up with B&B Racing early on.
Yeah, I started racing at PDDR, and I thought with the background that I had, I thought, man, I'll send some cars in and win,
Sure.
So I ran 3 classes and ran them for 3 races, and every time I finished last.
Yeah, that's so common.
So that was pretty humbling,
Right.
And then B&B lived about 100 miles away from me, so he told me one time, he said, if you have any questions, just ask. I'll help you out, So I would ask him questions, and then he says, the main thing you want to do is you want to get a track and a timer. He says, those are your 2 key tools you need. So I got a track and a timer, and he came over and one Saturday morning for 2 hours and gave me a little lesson on what I needed to do, and then I figured out a lot of stuff on my own, and that was the start of it. So he was nice enough to do that for me. So
yeah, that's great.
I try and help guys out when I can. Especially guys that you see they're trying and they're struggling, and
Sure.
there's a lot of people that, are here, and they make a lot of posts and everything, but, it's pretty much because of the scout thing, so
Right.
you can usually tell the guys that are going to stick around for a while, so I don't
Yeah.
mind telling some of those guys.
Sure. And I know you've done some given some help to some guys like Mr. B out here. I've seen some of the wheels that you've made for him. Really, really nice quality, that's for sure. So that's pretty cool to see that.
Well, when I first started this, I used to read a lot of posts and stuff, and I thought, well, with the amount of years of machining I had, if I couldn't make wheels as good as what was out there, then I wasn't going to do this. So
Sure.
that's pretty much the way I felt about it.
Hmm. And then early on, you were into the needle classes?
Yeah, well, actually, that's what I ran out at PDDR. I was in, I guess they used to call it super stock. It was the wide-wheeled cars,
Okay.
but it had needles.
Sure.
And there weren't a whole lot of guys that were in those classes because they're kind of a fussy build, They take a lot of patience to get those little axles, and
Yeah.
they don't hold up well in shipping. I had a couple of them. Most of the time I was lucky because they broke on the way back.
Sure.
But,
Yeah, and then when they break, then it's then you're stuck fixing it or
yeah,
making new parts and that.
well,
that
the way I made them though, there wasn't any fixing it. If it was
Sure.
broken, it was done. So
Right.
yeah.
Huh. Yeah,
There was-
I made a needle car once, and yeah, it was just so finicky, like you said, and then I could just see myself either dropping it or bending the axle something really easily. So that was a class I never really got into, but I know that some people, like yourself, B&B, and Five Kids, really excelled at that.
Yeah, DePine,
Yeah, Define.
Jukes,
Hmm.
Kinzer, Carolina, Casimir. Wheeler used to be a good builder in that class.
Sure.
But when USPS throws the box, and then you got that, it's a 1 gram wheel, but there's some mass to it, and then it just doesn't take a sudden shot at 90 degrees to the center line of the axle. It just snaps it right off. So
Right.
I never snapped them running them, but always in shipping.
Hmm. And then what year was it that you started? I know you started around the same time I did. I was in like 2008.
No, I was 2010.
Oh, you're 10. Okay, so it wasn't
Yeah,
too long after that.
June, I think it was June 2010 was my first time.
Okay, okay. And then you said that was out of PDDR?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you were real big over at PWDR until they.
Yeah, I ran.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran there 2011 and 12, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
That was kind of a hassle, It was like it was. I mean, it made the hobby more of a job than it was a hobby, because
yeah,
they ran every month, and then I was in 5 or 6 classes, and to stay at the top, to tune those cars, they're out a week, they run the race, then they're out another week till you get them back, and then you work on them, fix what's broken in shipping, and then you got to turn around and send them again. So
yeah.
it was, like, I couldn't wait till the end of the year was done with that,
Yeah, and that's very true. That it becomes almost like a second job. So
Yeah.
you really gotta. I don't know. I tried running a lot of classes once, and I fell into the same thing. Where like, geez, I got 5 cars to re-prep, and I don't really feel like doing it. And that's one reason I love the bearing class, because it's really easy to just take them apart, clean them, put them back together, and off they go.
Yeah.
Once you get them set, then they're a lot more fun. But you did send that door slammer, and you look like you were enjoying that class a lot.
Yeah, well, after the needle classes went by the wayside, I had to find something, that I liked. And when I was a kid, I used to put a lot of models together, so I liked that part of it. And then everybody knows I'm not a real big fan of BSA wheels, but I had to do what I had to do,
Yeah, yeah,
if I wanted to race. So.
sure. And that car you sent to me was that thing was blazing fast, and it was really cool looking. I like that little moon tank you put on the front of it too.
Yeah, that it didn't weigh very much. It kind of looked heavy, but it was probably like 2 grams at the most.
Yeah, sure. But it gave it that real drag. Yeah, it gave it that real drag car look, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So, what are your plans this year with? I know you're running APR. How many classes are you running over there?
Just the 2 door slammers, the Pro Slammer and the stock slammer.
Okay. And then, but you're not running Mid America and the Nationals this year, correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
You ran Mid America a couple years ago. I remember you sent something out there, I believe. Was that 2 years ago?
Probably 3, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 2012.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun event. So we'll miss you out there, but yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Now,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I got too much stuff at home here to do, so
Yeah, I
I
understand
don't need
that.
any more.
What? I lost what. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you also about your other hobbies. You mentioned that you had other hobbies in the past.
Yeah, I guess the biggest one I had was back in 1990. I bought a 1930 Model A coupe, and it was a basket case, and so I redid that. I made a street rod out of it, and I learned how to do a lot of stuff. I rebuilt the motor and learned how to do body work because, well, number one, I couldn't afford it, and number two, I'm kind of cheap, so so
Man after my own heart.
Yeah, I bought a welder, for $500, and I figured $500, at a body shop wouldn't go too far. So
Right.
it was a lot of sweat. It took me like 5 years to get it on the road.
Okay. Do you still have it?
Yeah, I still have it.
Okay.
It hasn't been on the road for probably 3 years now, but that's another project I have to get to this year because my wife likes going for a ride in it, and she's getting a little impatient here,
Yeah. Well, you got to keep them happy at home. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now you're in Pennsylvania. What part of the state are you in?
It's pretty much the southeast. It's like maybe 40 miles north of Philadelphia and 20 miles south of Allentown.
Okay.
Those are kind of...
So you're a sports fan too? You like the Eagles or anything?
No. My son is, but no, I never followed any sports. I mean, other than NASCAR a while ago and
Sure.
drag racing. But
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll tell you.
Not
Back in the
baseball or football or anything like
No,
that.
not basketball or anything. Because back in the day,
Nope.
when I was in high school, the Milwaukee Bucks, which was my team, they would always seem to come up against the Sixers and lose every year. It was very disheartening.
Yeah.
But oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I didn't follow any of that.
No. Well, that's all right because it does nothing but break your heart at times. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
All right.
I told
so-
you ahead of time I was a boring guy,
You're not a boring guy. I mean, with all that machining work, I mean, just the stories that I hear. My sister's boyfriend, this guy's a old time machinist too, and he tells me about all the old timers, like when he first started, and they would, of course, they'd razz all the young guys, and I'm sure you see that around your shop and stuff too. But he would tell me stuff like when they would heat up metal, just the way that they would tell how hot it is. They'd start heating the metal up in the furnace or wherever it was, and on the torch, and then they would go get a cup of coffee out of the machine, drink the coffee, and then they would put the paper cup on the metal, and they would count how long until the paper cup ignited, and that's how they would tell how hot it is. Just little tricks like that. I'm sure you've got a million of them like that.
Well, yeah, you pick up pretty much over the years, It's like the first job I had, I served my apprenticeship there, and I was there for like 37 years. And, well, if the owner, he was 72, and he wanted to retire, so he sold the business. And then the next guy that bought it, it only lasted like a year after that because every week he was changing his mind what we were going to do, so it just didn't work out. But it wasn't the best place to work as far as the pay and everything but it did, it gave me a really good education as far as how things go together and how to make them right. But, the pay wasn't that great, but I got a good education out of it. So
Right,
that was
right.
worth something, like in my current job. So,
Sure.
yeah.
But the thing that always amazes me too is how, you've got all these years of experience under your belt, and then and then you'll get, and you and I have talked about this, you'll get these guys that just want you to give out every secret and every tip without having the first clue of what they're doing. They want to jump right into the finished product before learning
Right.
anything.
Yeah, that's correct. It's like I could tell it to you, but it wouldn't make any sense.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
I got to tell you one thing. I had one guy over the years that I pretty much taught how to make wheels online, and that was 5 kids.
Okay.
He grasped everything really quick, and as he progressed, he taught me some things that I didn't think about. So yeah, Scott was a pretty sharp guy.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. I had the opportunity to meet him a couple of years ago, and super nice guy. I wish he'd get back to racing. Hopefully he will soon. But I know that he took that once in a lifetime family trip, which is why he kind of stopped racing to save up for that. This last summer they went. I don't know, it was like a 8-week family vacation, which that must have been nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. 5 kids in a van all that time, man. Oh man.
Yeah, I've just got two, and they drive me nuts. So, but yeah, he's a really good guy, and I see him still on the boards, and he pops in from time to time and offers an opinion here or there, but he hasn't sent in a car in a long time. Have you talked to him at all? Do you know if he's going to do that?
Um, yeah, I did talk to him, and he said not at the present time. He's not going to be racing. He's right now. I think I forget how many workshops he was doing for scouts, and they had, his kids were in scouts yet, some of them, and so he had all those races to go through yet. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's just not into racing right now for himself. So
Okay. Well, he's one of those guys that you want to see back on the track. I remember guys like Carolina Gravity too. He's out of it. I think he sold his track, so I don't think there's any hope of him coming back. But
no.
yeah, a lot of these guys that were around when I started, and really, the guys that I look up to, it's DePine. You mentioned him before. He's another one that's you don't hear from anymore. You wish you'd see him once in a while.
Yeah.
A lot of these new guys are, some of them turn out to be pretty good, and I like to see a lot of the new guys coming out of my area here in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you get some guys that just rub you the wrong way.
Yeah, I've had that.
You've got a great story about the guy that called you one night for some information, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, that was like 30 minutes of running the pump full throttle there,
Yeah, right for the information tank.
No, right for the juggler.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. There are people that are like that. They come into the hobby and they just want to be fast right away without having to actually learn anything. But I don't want to make it sound like that's everybody, but there are those that do that. No, did I lose you, Bill?
There.
No, there you are. Okay.
Yeah, well, you've been cutting out every once in a while.
Oh, okay. Are you on a cell phone? I'm talking to you over my Google Voice, which is over my wireless connection. So once in a while it might drop. I haven't had too many problems with it since I got everything hooked up properly through my soundboard. But anyway, what what else is going on with you as far as any new builds, or are you just kind of running the old ones that you already have?
Well, I'm working on a couple pickup trucks for that Master of Gravity race.
Okay.
Uh, they're kind of challenging, You get the cab to deal with, and then you have the bed to deal with,
Right, right.
Yeah.
And
It's not a one-piece kind of deal,
Sure, sure. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be pretty interesting to do. And so I guess what are the rules for it? I guess I haven't really even looked and seen what they're doing.
Yeah, it has to be a full-size American-made pickup from 1950 to 2015. So, no El Caminos, no rancheros,
Okay.
nothing like that. It has
Sure.
to be a full-size truck. So, yeah, the two I got here, they don't look too streamlined, but I guess it doesn't matter because everybody's going to be running the same
Right.
thing.
What about length and weight requirements?
Um, I think Terry gave the figure from the pin to the back edge of the track, so as long as the wheelbase fits on there, it's good to go.
Okay.
It doesn't matter if the body's hanging over, and I think the weight is 6 ounces, just like a door slammer.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, the tailgate has to be up and no bed covers, so that kind of like took the wind out of my sails when I heard that, but that's
yeah.
the way it is.
Yep. And when you do, are you going to go out there live, or are you just going to send it in?
Nah, I'm probably just going to proxy.
Okay. Have you ever been out there
It's
by
like
Terry's?
800 miles round trip for me,
Oh, is it
though
that?
I live in this.
Yeah.
Huh?
I didn't realize it was that far.
Yeah, it's 400 miles, to Terry's house, and
Okay.
then it's 2 nights in a motel. I told you before I was cheap.
Yeah, but yeah, once in a while you got to get to a live race. There's nothing like it, I'll tell you that.
I went to PWDR for the championship back in 2011, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that in?
That was nice. I met Scott, 5 kids.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah, I met him. I met Rocking Racing. I met Run Amok, Spacewalker, Cash, Evo, Casimir.
Mm-hmm.
So I even met ZZ at the time.
Oh yeah, ZZ Racing, sure.
Yeah, there's a guy that was a good racer that's not around anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was that where was that? In Ohio or Kentucky that you went to?
Ohio.
It was in Ohio, so that was when Evo had it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because Lucky 13 had it probably just before that, I would imagine. And
yeah, Bob. Yep.
yeah, and there's another guy that's not around anymore. He was a good guy too.
Yeah. Well, from what I hear, you remember how heavy he was?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I think he started working out and watched what he ate, and I think he was down to like 180 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Gives guys like me hope.
And he went back to college, and
Oh,
I
really?
think he's working on his degree.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he was a really nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I always liked Bob. He was a nice guy.
I did too. And I thought he ran his league really well, where he was basically like, I don't care what parts you run, I don't care who you support, just come race, have fun, no bickering, just get out there and race. I mean, I thought that was really good. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's another one again that's no longer racing, and I kind of miss guys like Emerson Fast Cars. He popped up recently on the Jukes board. He just he sent something in. Patrick Emerson. He was a guy that was like when I first started. He was out there, and then you had guys like Fat Boy, and you just don't hear from him anymore.
Yeah, I don't remember that Emerson guy. He must have been before me.
Could be. Yeah, he got out right about then. And then you remember Fat Boy at all?
Did he go through a divorce?
That I don't know. I think he was like from Texas, but you should ask Mood about him. Him and Mood used to just razz each other like nobody's business. And I asked Mood one time, I said, hey, what's up with you and Fat Boy? He's like, oh no, we got just a great relationship. We can just, pull each other's chain like that. Because at times I thought, man, are these guys, really ticked at each other, or are they just having fun? It turned out they were just having fun. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, Mood's another guy. You ever meet Mood Swing?
No,
No,
I didn't.
Yeah, he first time I ever saw him, Ian and I we were getting on an elevator, and I didn't notice that I had an APR shirt on, and he just looked at us, and he looked at Ian, looked at me. We're both pretty big guys, and then he said something about hoping that we don't kick his ass, and then I realized it was him, and I just started laughing. But yeah, he's a good guy too.
Well, he likes to stay in the shadows,
Yes, he does.
Yeah. So anyway, Blake posted a picture one time from a race that he was sitting at a chair at the computer,
Yep.
And so he gave Blake heck about doing that, and so Blake took it off. But luckily, before he got it off, I saved it to my pictures.
Yeah, I got one of those too.
I keep that, just in case.
So you remember what he looks like?
Him sometime.
I know exactly which picture you're talking about because I took it too because I'm like, holy cow, a picture of Mood on the site. and then
Yeah.
like an hour or two later, it was gone. So,
Yep.
yep. So Mood, if you're out there listening, we've got these blackmail pics.
Yeah. Since he always photoshops my stuff, like when I tore the tendon off my arm, he's like puts my head on some bodybuilder's body,
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, my wife framed that. She said, I only wish,
That's funny. So, what else do you do for fun out there in Pennsylvania? Tell me about this. Tell me about this Pennsylvania Dutch accent that you hear all the time from your in-laws.
Well, people that are from this area, a lot of them came from Germany and Austria, and, they call them Dutchies out here. But I don't know. This stuff, like from like a generation or two before me, stuff, they really had a hard accent then, and, when they translate stuff into English, it doesn't quite come out right,
Right.
like throw the cow over the fence some hay.
Yep. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. You ever hear that?
I saw those videos that you linked to, and they were saying some
Yeah.
weird phrases like that. And
Yeah.
I thought, geez, that is. At first, I thought the guy was faking it, but yeah, then you assured me, nope, your in-laws sound just like those people.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah, and you mentioned that our cheesehead accent. What was the word you wanted me to say? Oh, Carol. How does your
You
son-in-law say
broke,
it? Oh, I'm sorry.
you you broke up there.
Okay, you wanted me to say the word Carol?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How
That's
did?
the way my son-in-law says it.
Okay, how do you say
He's
it?
he's from Oswego, Illinois.
Okay, and
But yeah,
how do you say it?
Carol.
Okay, so you're more Carol and I'm Carol. I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound that different to me, but I guess if you're not used to hearing it, you pick it up. Yeah, I know that we've got a real hard vowel in a lot of our sounds,
Hmm.
like home and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just normal. But we do say some weird things. When I was watching that Pennsylvania Dutch video, the guy said something like "make the light out" instead of
Yeah.
like "turn off the light." My grandma,
Yep.
she was pure Polish, but she said stuff like that: "Make the light out" and
Hmm.
"make the TV louder" or something, or just weird. Just the way he said it was "make it louder," "make it off" and stuff like that. That just
Hmm.
not quite right. But yeah, those videos were fun to watch.
Yeah. Did you look at any of the Professor Schnitzel ones?
No, those I didn't see. What are those
No.
about?
Yeah. He had like this radio show back in the late 50s and stuff, and I can remember as a kid, all the older people laughing about listening to him. He's he's kind of funny, but a little on the corny side.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, the most of the accents that I think of are like your Bostons and stuff like that. But the Pennsylvania Dutch, I've never really heard anything like that until I saw those videos.
Hmm. Did you ever have shoe fly pie?
Shoe fly pie. I have not had that.
Did you ever hear of it?
I have not. What is that?
It's like about a half-inch thick layer of molasses on the bottom, and then crumbs, and like more of a cake after the molasses, and then like brown sugar crumbs on the top.
Well, it sounds pretty healthy.
Yeah, it's real healthy.
No, I haven't had it. Is it good?
Yeah, oh, it's great. That's Pennsylvania Dutch. There's a couple really good places out in Lancaster. That's a big Amish community out there.
Okay.
So
So yeah, you got the Amish people out there. I've seen them on those goofy Breaking Amish shows or the Amish Mafia or whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know.
well, I don't think that's really the
I
way
it
it is.
yeah, I don't think so. Because I mean, these guys are driving around in Cadillacs and stuff on this show.
Yeah,
It just seems pretty fake to me.
yeah, it is.
There's that I don't
Yeah.
know. Like there's some people like my son and my wife. Sometimes they watch it and I'm just like, oh, turn this off. But I don't know. I
Hmm.
guess it's they've got a following somewhere. Do you see a lot of Amish
Yeah.
driving down the road in their buggies and stuff?
Yep.
Do you?
Every once in a while, you hear of car coming up over the top of the hill and hitting one of them, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Because there aren't too, you know, they're not really constructed real well, you know. I mean, it's wood, you know.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Usually there's a lot of, you know, there's a couple kids in there and a mother and dad, you know. And yeah, it's not good when they get hit.
No, absolutely not. So, are you watching the race today over at John's?
No, actually, I couldn't get on.
Oh, really? Yeah, I got it on right now. It looks like they're between classes, but I haven't paid attention too much of what's going on. I'll probably pay attention a little bit later when the Unlimiteds come up. But yeah, the car I have.
I don't think they had many street rods out there.
No, I saw the numbers last night and they were down, but John just first posted it yesterday. Maybe there's more to come, but yeah, my the car I sent out there, I sent it to Glenn, and then from Glenn's to John's, but I didn't even retune it or reprep it. I just saw it had a broken wheel, put a new wheel on, and just sent it out there. But I'm focusing more on the Nationals coming up. So
yeah, I think a lot of people are.
I think so too, and I think that's why the numbers might be down. So when's Terry's next race is like the week before the Nationals, isn't it? I think like on the 18th.
The 18th, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know what his how his numbers will be that day. It'll be interesting to see if our people are pulling back for the Nationals. But yeah, I mean right now I've got a couple of cars in the works, but I got to get my butt in the shop and get working.
Yeah, I got a couple in the works too, but they're all street rod or door slammers, you know. So.
Right. Huh. Yeah, the number of people that sound like they're going out there should be pretty good. Of course, Ian says he's not going out there anymore. But I talked to JBD. I don't know if you saw my last podcast. I don't think he was too happy with me with what I said, but I stand by my assessment. Anyways, I talked to him on the phone, and hopefully Greg will allow some testing on Thursday. So hopefully JBD will go out there. Yeah, I don't know if anybody from APR is going to send out there. It doesn't sound like really we're going to get too much from them. What about GS1? Do you know him pretty well?
Not real well, but we PM once in a while.
Yeah, Fred, he's a good guy.
He told me he retired.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he says he's going to the gym 3 times a week.
Is that right? No, good for him.
So I guess he said his 2 boys aren't going to this next race. So I said, well, if you went to the gym, I said maybe you're in good shape. You can go down to the stop section and pick up the cars.
Oh, that's
instead of your son.
Yeah, that's a chore. I did that at the 2013 Nationals. I did that for like every race, bending down, picking up them cars, and you know it was a 2-day event, and it was fine and everything. But I tell you, come like Sunday or Monday, my legs were just dead. I couldn't hardly walk. Yeah, that was pretty bad. But you know, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to mention on this podcast before we wrap her up?
I think that's probably about it.
Okay. I hope to see you out on the track. I know that you're basically sending out to APR because it's a shorter distance and cheaper shipping for you. But
yeah, I think I mentioned I was cheap.
Once or twice you did. Yeah. That's all right. Somebody's got to be. I'm pretty cheap too, but yeah, that's why sometimes I try to cram too many cars in one box. I probably should break it up over 2 boxes, and I usually end up paying the price by having a broken wheel here or there. But you know, luckily I do have a little lathe out in the back, and I can turn a new wheel if I need to for those Unlimiteds. But
yeah,
it is what it is. So, Bill, it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Hey, you too, Zeeb.
All right, man. I'll see you soon on the track, hopefully. And
okay.
And until then, keep posting on the boards. We like the controversy you give us once in a while.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try and knock that off. So.
Okay. Well, that being said, I've picked out some special outro music just for you, Bill. For BSB, I am Zeebzob, signing off.
been tough, he could shut his stuff. Had the whole town scared to death. When he walked by, they all held their breath. He's a fighting man, sure enough. And then Bill got himself a wife. Now he leads a different life. Big bad Bill is sweet William now. Married life done changed him somehow. He's the man the town used to fear. Now they all call him Sweet Papa Willie dear. Stronger than Samson, I declare, till a brown-skinned woman's bobbed his hair. Big bad Bill don't fight anymore. No, no, no. He's doing the dishes, mopping up that floor. Yes, he is. Well, he used to go out drinking, looking for a fight. Now I gotta see that sweet woman every night. Big bad Bill is sweet William now. I'll play, boys. Dishes, mopping up that floor.